Normally I speak at European events, so I need to just acclimatise to the Canadians and Americans this time round. Okay, so just to go through, really just look at the Asia perspective to give you a general overview of what's happening in Vietnam and Asia. If we look, unemployment was about 4.2% in 2012 in Southeast Asia and Pacific. This is obviously a lot lower than Europe, America, and Canada as well. If we look at unemployment specifically in Asia, as you can see, Vietnam has one of the lowest unemployment percentages in Southeast Asia. The unemployment mainly in Vietnam is within the 18 to 25-year age range. Okay, you've got about 1 million students that are entering the workforce every year, and this is where you see the highest amount of unemployment. If you look at Singapore, they have a totally different issue where they have unemployment and they have a lack of talent within the market. So if we look generally, Vietnam, and I think, you see it everywhere, everyone's talking about talent mapping, talent management, talent attraction. There is about 67 million labour shortage globally since 2007. The bad news is that's not going to go away, and obviously in Vietnam, it's a big issue trying to find not only skilled but also unskilled labour. So if we look at potential growth rates, we expect it to be about the same in 2012 for Southeast Asia, about 5.2, 5.4%. I'm not an economist, so I'm sure maybe Victoria or Calvin will give you the exact figures. But the lack of talent is going to be the most pressing issue. I'm sure most of you are looking to recruit, but find it very, very difficult to get talent and the right type of applicants with the right type of mindset in Vietnam. You're not alone. Everybody is facing the same problem. Okay, 3 out of 10 employers in Asia say that this is the biggest issue for them when they look at investing in new countries, or also bringing in additional investment into countries. So if you look, Vietnam is about 62% of companies find difficulty in finding jobs in 2013. If you look at Japan, this is mainly due to the aging population. Vietnam is due to the fact that you've got 65% of the population are either skill-strapped or unskilled. So this is the issue that you face in Vietnam. Thailand is slightly different again, in Hong Kong, and China again is mainly difficulties in blue collar and managers that they look for. So if we look at reasons why employers struggle to fill the jobs, one is the lack of, is there a doofer? No, there's no clicker, sorry. Okay, so if you look, probably the highest one is the lack of available talent in the market, lack of experience. But also one of the major things, especially in Vietnam as well, is the lack of work experience or work competencies. A lot of companies, especially blue-collar workers, if you're going out into Da Nang, Dong Nai, in the industrial zones, you're having to increase your catchment area for your blue-collar workers. So it means that you're attracting people that don't necessarily work in manufacturing and production industries. So you have to spend more time training them on what is culturally okay in terms of work practices. Also the lack of experience. Vietnam is changing its economy. They're looking to go from labour intensive to more research and development. I think Vietnam wants to be a top 5 IT outsourcing hub by 2020. So you're having positions in Vietnam that 10 years ago didn't exist. I arrived in 2004, and it was very, very few companies wanted to have IT managers or IT roles, where if you look now, that's one of the hot industries in Vietnam. So what you're tending to find is there's a lack of talent, and there's also a lack of experience as well in the marketplace. Okay, so top professions in demand. Sales. I'm sure Ralph and the rest of the panel will agree. You know, FMCG, consumer products, retail are all big industries. That's really not going to change in 2014. Engineers, you will see it's more infrastructure projects. The real estate industry has sort of died, I think, in Ho Chi Minh City. You just see them bringing the forklift trucks in and out of the building sites, but where in Hanoi they are actually building. So there's a bit of a difference between Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City in terms of engineers. But what we see is that there's big infrastructure projects. If you look at the new airport in Hanoi and the motorways, so engineers will be required in power and infrastructure projects. Accounting and finance, obviously this is going to be compliance, risk. The banks have opened up the internal credit facilities, credit checking department. So we think that risk analysts and those type of financial roles will increase. Obviously, research and development. Samsung have a huge factory and put in a lot into research and development. Also, you have big local companies that are looking to go into food and different products. So you'll have a lot of research and development in many different industries, and then your normal office support staff. Um, so engineering and IT will remain big. I agree with Don on his comments. Healthcare and pharma will be big industries in 2014, 2015. I came back last night from Hanoi, which is absolutely freezing at the moment. And if you look at the Heritage magazine, you know, there are about 5 or 6 different advertisements, full-page advertisements in the Heritage magazine for private hospitals. So you can start to see that Medicare, pharma are becoming big business here, and then obviously industry as well, energy as well. So if you can't find the people, how does it affect your business? I think mainly for most companies in Vietnam, it's going to be the other side of the presentation. You're looking at it makes compensation more expensive, especially with the increase in social insurance, minimum wage, your trade unions last year. You're finding that your compensations and benefits packages are increasing. And then also you have, there could be high attrition as well due to people fighting over salaries and a bit of a price war for certain specialized roles. So if we just look at 2013, okay, so growth areas, as I said, retail, FMCG, education is big as well, healthcare, and tourism. The only problem is people come over to Vietnam but don't come back, sometimes because they have a bad experience. So this is something that will continue to grow but needs to be looked at. So if we go demand versus supply, I think this is pretty much the same. You know, you have high demand in sales, FMCGs, insurance and IT, and obviously the demand, the supply isn't there within those industries. So most companies are looking at different types of apprenticeships, internships, training management programs to really grow home talent. Okay. So 2014, okay. This is going to be, the global trends is very prevalent to Vietnam as well. We don't expect that there be high unemployment in Vietnam. We expect it to stay within under 3%, but there will be high unemployment rate within the 18 to 25-year-old age range. As I said, you have 1 million people entering the workforce every year. They have the degree, but they may not have the life or work experiences. So that's going to be the biggest challenge. You're going to have huge unemployment within the younger generations. Production shifts. Thailand still remains quite an attractive country, even though they're having issues at the moment. If you look at the productivity conversions against Vietnam, even though Thailand's a little bit more expensive, the infrastructure's there. The minimum wage is not that expensive in Thailand, and also what value you get for your money is better in Thailand. Burma, I think companies are not really looking too much in Burma and Laos at the moment, but I think there will be a focus back into Indonesia and Thailand. One of the biggest issues you're going to have next year is skill gaps, shortages. It's all going to be about growing your talent internally. So HR, it's going to be loads of talent mapping, talent management, talent attraction, attrition, and retention. So these are going to be all keywords for next year. Freelancing, obviously the Labour Code last year in 2013, they introduced the term subleasing. And hopefully, the Ministry of Labour at some point in the future will introduce the concept of temporary work fully into Vietnam. So we're starting to see, over the last 6 months to a year, that companies, employees want to have more different types of flexible work. Okay, so we can start to see that contracting, temporary work, subleasing, outsourcing, managed business services will all become part of what companies do and employees want. Okay. Internet, I can't even remember the last time I actually advertised in a newspaper. I think it was probably for a work permit in 2008 when I had to advertise in a national newspaper. I think the days of advertising in Choi Chair, or sorry, not Saigon Times, continue advertising in Saigon Times. These are gone. It's all about internet. It's all about social media. It's all about Facebook, LinkedIn, likes, shares, etc. So this is going to be very, very important if you want to build your employee branding. So what the company does, what you stand for, advertising roles, Twitter. I'm supposed to tweet. Is it tweet every day on my Twitter. It's really annoying, but it's something that I need to do. But same with LinkedIn and Facebook. This is all the social media is going to be very, very big, especially with the penetration of internet users in Vietnam. Okay, so 2014, we would expect projected pay rises to be 6 to 8%. I know that there's some surveys going out next week, but we had a client conference morning yesterday. Most companies are looking between 4 and 6, so it's going to be under inflation for pay reviews this year. In terms of when you look at giving 15 or 20% pay increases, these are going to be really people that you don't have replacements for, that you have no succession plan, or very, very, very specialized skill sets. So the risk manager that you can't find somebody else to replace them, then you may be giving your 15 to 20%, but generally normal performers is going to be about 4 to 6% this year. And I think employers and employees are expecting that. Nobody's really looking at the 18%. As I said, it's going to be harder for new entrants to find jobs. This is actually an opportunity for companies to bring in interns. I've got about 10 at the moment within the company. That's something that Adecco is doing globally, but it's an opportunity for companies to bring in people as interns, apprenticeship, and really train them, get them involved in the employee branding and engage with the company so that you actually can homegrown your talent. Longer recruitment cycles. When I was working for a local company in 2004, 2005, I think it was one interview that companies did. They spent 20 minutes with the applicant and then they hired. What we're finding now is it's 2 to 3 interviews for every level. Okay, you're needing to get regional sign-off for roles as well. So we're expecting that it's going to be longer recruitment cycles, maybe 3 to 4 months from when you give HR the job order to you actually have somebody starting. Companies are doing more background checks, reference checks as well. So the process is getting longer because you want to make sure that you actually are hiring the right person. In terms of exiting non-performers, this will really be the focus, I think, in 2014 for a lot of companies. They're going to really try and just shake up their structure and get rid of people that are not performing in the market. They may not necessarily even replace the person. Okay, so it's all going to be looking internally into the organization, and people that are not performing maybe in 2013 and are continually not performing in 2014, people will be actively looking to exit them. The focus is going to be on metrics. Metrics, return on investment, KPIs, critical business standards, balanced scorecards, whatever terminology you use internally. So it's all going to be how you need to do it, what conversions, what's the return on the investment. So you're going to be micromanaging your staff a lot in 2014. Minimum wage, this is unofficial. Okay, this is just my personal gut feel. Okay, we would expect, so it's not official. Okay, okay. Don't tell Vice Minister Huang, because he'll tell me off if I say this. So minimum wage, we would expect it's going to go to about 3.2 million in quarter 3. If you look, it's 2.7 for foreign invested companies in Region 1 in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. We expect that it's going to go up. It's gone up on average twice a year, every year for the last, I think, 6 years, and generally it goes up between 15 and 27%. So we'd expect that the minimum wage will go up to 3.2. Possibly it may be delayed to quarter 1 next year, but it's definitely going to happen. And then I would say it would be revised again. By about 2016, I'd expect the minimum wage to be about 3.7 million. Yep. A lot of times in the newspapers, they say that 3.2 is more or less what you need to live on, or 60% of the requirements what you need to live on in Vietnam. So it's going to go up, and it's going to continue to go up. Other things you may need to be aware of is obviously social insurance goes up again in 2016. We would expect that they may, again, unofficial, so please don't quote me, that there may be a new introduction of an employment insurance within the next 2 years at about 1%. So you have your unemployment insurance at 1%. You will also have an employment insurance. This is really to help the government get people back into work and vocational trainings. So don't be surprised if there is a new employment insurance introduced within the next 12 to 18 months. Okay. Obviously, they've talked about the banks. We'll talk about banks. I won't comment on those. Okay. So big industries, automobiles, healthcare, as we said, pharma. Pharma is going to be a huge industry in 2014, 2015. Also, you have Asiana is opened up, so you will have free movement of workers between Singapore, Brunei, Vietnam. So what we're looking at, there'll be a lot of healthcare workers exiting out of Vietnam. FMCG, consumer products, retail will continue to be big, IT, and then insurance. Pensions are opening up already, the pension market, life insurance. So insurance is going to be a big industry. I'm just going to quickly go through these. So office positions, sales remain high, IT programmers and developers, engineers. Obviously, this is all going to be infrastructure and power. These are all going to be top positions. Okay, finance, as we said, risk compliance, analysts will all be in high demand. So if you've got them, keep them. Okay. It's still going to be a candidates. I can see Colin's going to not do the bell. It's still going to be a candidates-driven market. So if you've got a good candidate, you really need to keep them. What we're tending to find is that executive roles people are hiring, and low middle roles, but there's not much movement in the medium mid managers. They tend to be staying within their positions, but high end executive directors are moving in the market. So my last slide. Okay. So just tips is really have clear headcount planning. What we're tending to find is a lot of people are starting to outsource or transfer over to a managed business to release their full-time, their headcount. So a lot of companies now are outsourcing drivers, security, which is good for you. IT, office admin, tea ladies, so that 30 or 40 people that you may have sitting on your headcount, people are starting to move that over to like a managed business service, okay, instead of having them on a permanent headcount. Really important to hire right. If you hire wrong, it probably costs you about a year of their salary. In terms of the wrong hire, because you need to exit, then you need to replace, you lose productivity, and you lose revenue. So it's very, very important that you hire right. Good benefits program, especially for your more executive managers. They are looking for that more strategic partnership opportunities, employee engagement. So they're really looking for you to be the sort of like big brother as an employer. So you might need to look at childcare, parking, flexible hours, especially with the maternity, 6 months. We've introduced flexible hours at work, job shares. So there's different things that you can be doing, private health insurance, pensions. It's not just going to be cash moving forward. It's also going to be the whole, I tend to call it like touchy feely. It's all the other stuff around the high, not just the cash component. Really important to have a clear vision of the company, what you're doing, your strategies, your visions. As I said, use the internet, Facebook, social media to make sure that you're really communicating with the employee brand, not only to retain but also to attract your staff. Manage by productivity, micromanage. I think everybody has to do that in Vietnam, but I think next year it's going to be really important to make sure that everybody really understands the roles within the company. So I think you're going to need to spend a lot more time with your employees. Okay. So just generally, we personally think Adecco it's going to be a good year. A lot of people are going to move to managed business service, which is fantastic for us. Executive hires will still carry on, and there will be movement in the market. But your mid-level managers will tend to stay where they are. So we're not expecting to have big attrition within the middle sectors. But the real opportunity is really, if you have the headcount, is to really go for these students, these graduates that are entering the marketplace, and spend the next 2 to 3 years training them. I know it's a lot of hard work, but you're not going to get away from the talent shortages. It's going to carry on, and it's going to get worse in some sectors. So very important internship programs, and then you can cope with what happens in the next couple of years. Okay, that's it. Did I do?